USA Ultimate is proud to present the 2016 USA Ultimate College National Championship. Second semifinal in the men's division as 5th seed Pittsburgh looks for their 3rd title in 5 years. The 4th seed Minnesota Grey Duck in the first semifinal in program history. We just wrapped up an unforgettable first semifinal as Harvard advanced to the title game for their first time in school history, knocking off the defending champs, North Carolina. That game had everything, and we can only hope that this one matches in terms of excitement and mystique. Hi everybody, Evan Lepler, Ian Toner. We're still catching our breaths, but the story with Pittsburgh and Minnesota on Friday morning, these were the top 2 seeds in Pool D. Everyone thought they were both championship contenders. Neither of them won the pool, and yet here they are in the semifinals playing for a chance to face Harvard tomorrow.
They've been forced to play for their lives a lot earlier than they expected. Both of them won their pre-quarterfinals and quarterfinal matchups, knocking out their pool winners, finding themselves in a semifinals matchup.
Well, Pittsburgh is technically the visiting team, the 5 seed, Minnesota the 4, but this Pittsburgh team has the pedigree. They have the 2016 Callahan Award winner in Trent Dillon, and they are feeling confident heading into tonight's game.
This 2016 class is looking to leave its mark on the Pittsburgh En Sabah Nur program. They've had older classes with Tyler DiGirolamo and Alex Thorne and others winning championships. This is their chance to make history for the Pitt program.
Trent Dillon won the award earlier tonight, but Nick Kazmarek, their head coach, said that after they got the trophy, they were focused on the semifinals. And Minnesota Grey Duck is going to have its hands full. They're shorthanded. Ryan Oscar, one of their captains and key handlers, he's injured. So is Cole Wallen. So is Sam Bumstead. Ben Yacht's going to have a huge game, isn't he?
The Yacht Club's going to be a popular place for the Minnesota offense tonight. One of the taller, more challenging deep threats for anyone to deal with. I'm not sure that anyone on Pittsburgh matches up with him perfectly, perhaps Christian Pitts, but this is going to be a huge opportunity for Yacht.
Minnesota has gotten plenty of naps today, so has Pittsburgh. It's been a long day since they played the quarterfinals at 8:30 this morning. Late night ultimate here in Raleigh at College Nationals. En Sabah Nur and Grey Duck opening pool when we come back. The 2016 USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Discraft Ultrastar now available at over 1,900 U.S. retail locations, including all Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett stores. By 5 Ultimate, apparel made specifically for Ultimate players by Ultimate players. Visit 5ultimate.com for everything from Discraft Ultrastars to jerseys, shorts, and custom team uniforms. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of Ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. The Daylight, a Distant Memory. Pittsburgh starting lineup featuring so many members of this well-established 5th-year class, including Pat Earls, Christian Pitts, Max Thorne, and Trent Dillon. Dylan Best out of Sharon High School, a great school in the South Shore of Massachusetts. Minnesota Grey Duck, the 4 seed overall, with a little bit of a different look because typically Ryan Oscar would be out there with the starters. Expect Soham Shah to cross over to the O-line like he did much of last season for the Grey Duck. Tallis Boyd, an alum of the Duck, leading Minnesota on the sidelines. Earlier this week, Pittsburgh head coach Nick Kazmarek said that his team was primed to have its best weekend of the year. Well, on Friday morning at 8:30, they lost their first game. And yet, here they are in the semifinals. This is the matchup, frankly, of the 2 teams that lost to Auburn. And Pittsburgh in the blue with the disc.
Auburn Itos stealing that last bid out of the Southeast region.
Max Thorne up the line. And a call was made behind the play.
You think it was picked? No, I don't think so.
The observers don't believe it was a pick.
So however far away you think is reasonable.
Just outside of the end of En Sabah Nur.
Thorne not getting credit for the score, but he's got it on the goal line. Good pivot. Earls elevates and gets Pittsburgh started.
Easy offense there for Pittsburgh. Marching down the force side, and then on the goal line, Max Thorne pivoting, finding Pat Earls, longtime teammate and a connection on the around throw.
Well, Pat Earls certainly was not a star when Pittsburgh won a national title in 2012 or 2013. He had some moments in that run in 2013. They beat Oregon in the semifinals and then Central Florida in the championship game. That was a team anchored by Max Thorne's older brother Alex and Tyler DiGirolamo, who's here. Saw him before the game tonight. He just arrived. Member of Team USA, of course. And well, this Pittsburgh team, they've played well since that opening loss to Auburn.
They've learned their lesson. They've valued their opportunities. They found themselves in a hole late against Minnesota in pool play.
Won that game 15-13 after going back and forth.
And fought through the latest favorite, Wisconsin, earlier this morning in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that was certainly the marquee quarterfinal game on the showcase field, live streamed by UltiWorld. Wisconsin struggled with the conditions. It was played much of the game in the driving rain. Josh Couts, cross field. Sam Kaminsky. Tallis Boyd said, with all the injuries, we're going to have about 12 guys that are going to play a whole lot of points. Wyatt Meckler. And into the end zone. Yacht didn't do a whole lot on that first point, except catch the score to punctuate it.
You know, sometimes a deep threat like that can just keep another defender honest and make space for other players.
Carl Morgenstern with a bid coming up short.
Great work by Meckler to attack and get the disc back as soon as he knew his defender was on the ground and out of position.
Tony Poletto picks up the assist. Well, Minnesota, they certainly seem loose in their first semifinal. Had a long time to think about this game over the course of the day.
Yeah, and their program, it's kind of been a long time coming for them to break through and reach the semifinals. In years past, they've had dominant regular seasons and failed to even qualify for the championships, or, you know, held higher seeds and broken out in the gotten knocked out, excuse me, in the quarterfinals.
Minnesota falling to Pittsburgh and then losing to Auburn on Universe. That Auburn win won them the pool. If they had lost that point, they would have not made the bracket. And who knows what third-seeded Carleton might have done with all the 3 seeds from the pools getting into the semifinals. Well, when this Pittsburgh offense runs well, it can be a beautiful thing to watch. There's the lefty Earls. Ahead to Lemberg.
Grey Duck still not yet crumbling into person defense, sticking with their junkier scheme.
And there's Dillon, who got a nice new trophy for his mantle earlier this afternoon. One of the Pittsburgh assistant coaches and recent alums, Aaron Watson, was in charge of the Callahan campaign for Trent Dillon. He had a preseason hype video, a midseason hype video, a second midseason hype. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but that's what it felt like. And there's Earls with his second score. But what happened with the Callahan campaign, Watson went to the Pittsburgh captains basically before the season and said, look, I love this program. I think we should have a Callahan Award winner. We've had too much success not to. Can I be in charge of all of this? And they really didn't have a choice but to say yes. And I think Aaron Watson, who's on the sidelines supporting Pittsburgh in a coaching role, was probably as happy as anybody. That includes Trent Dillon.
You know, this Pitt program has always been known for producing multiple highlight videos, whether that's a Callahan highlight reel or just a senior player's highlight reel. Maybe they should start their own production company to raise some travel funds for the team in the regular season.
Well, you know, over the course of the last half decade or so, the proliferation of Callahan videos has really transformed the sport. The women's winner, Marissa Rafter, I don't know how many votes she got because of the highlights on the video compared to her play, but you know, even in this day and age, with Ultimate getting more and more coverage, more than ever before, there's still a lot of unconnectivity between teams from coast to coast, and the video is often sometimes your best way of seeing highlights of a player. So Minnesota trailing 2-1. Big fake there from Isaac Ruff. Reset for Kaminsky. Just a freshman. And a huge flick. Too far for the wide open receiver, Tristan Vandy Mortel.
Vandy Mortel was actually thinking about going to the University of Colorado for grad school and could have been suiting up for Mama Bird this season. Grey Duck leadership certainly happy he decided to stay in Minnesota.
Native of Paris, France, grad student in the Twin Cities. Could this be the game's first break? And it falls into the grasp of Michael Ing. The freshman from Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, getting his first taste of the semifinals and making his mark early.
We see this throw go up, definitely hanging more than he would have liked. Good body from Isaac Ruff, taking Graves out of the frame. But Mike Ing, who's been an impact defender as a freshman, taking on major assignments like Aaron Spiess against Wisconsin. Johnny on the spot, and that's the first grab of the game, first break of the game for Pittsburgh En Sabah Nur.
Trent Dillon told me earlier this week, said Mike Ing, without a doubt, is the best freshman defender I have ever seen in college. Yes, he's hyping his teammate. It's pretty high praise.
Trent Dillon isn't one to use hyperbole or throw statements around like that carefully, or carelessly, I should say.
You wonder how Minnesota will handle the early deficit here. Clearly undermanned. Facing a team that has the championship pedigree and experience. And of course, you can't talk about Pitt without talking about the missed opportunities the last 2 years. One of the great quarterfinal games in Nationals history 2 years ago in Cincinnati, when on a random field that was not streamed except for a last-minute radio broadcast by Charlie Eisenhood. And there's a shot to the end zone just out of the reach of Couts. But in that game, Pittsburgh and UNC Wilmington battled to the brink. There were no breaks until the very last score, and Wilmington had the shocking upset with its third consecutive Universe point win to advance into the semifinals, and that was to end Pittsburgh's quest for a three-peat. And then last year, Pittsburgh meeting UCF, such a constant rival, the Dogs of War. And En Sabah Nur have had some classics, including in the championship game in 2013. And well, after a break on the first point, it was all UCF the rest of the way in a contentious and emotional battle in Milwaukee. Isaac Ruff with the interception. Soham Shah, a little give and go. Meckler, and a stoppage.
Not sure if there's a foul call there.
You guys can decide yourselves. You can play it as a contest.
I think Paletto is
Okay.
calling a foul
It
on
was a foul.
Morgenstern for
It's
tripping
going to be
him.
white disc here at 1. You're a little bit behind.
Hold up, gentlemen. Hold up.
Hey, I will tell him where he's going to go. Thank you. 2 steps.
Morgenstern
My call.
not
It is a
happy
foul
with
coming
that.
in at
Thought
1.
that was incidental contact. Greg Connolly instructing him to get to the right patch of grass before the disc is tapped back in.
On the restart, Meckler. Shah. Meckler and Shah play catch. And as Paletto receives the dish,
Yeah. It'll be
another
your disc.
stoppage.
You good?
Catch up 1 or 2
You okay?
more. That's right. Pickles home.
How awesome is it having the observer's mic, by the way?
Stays here coming in at 1
This
when
is
you're
the
ready.
kind of perspective that fans never get. Morgenstern and Paletto going at it in the dump set. Another foul call before that swing pass.
Understood. Defense called foul. Right. Is it before the throw or after?
It was in the air, so we're at stall 1.
We're saying we think it was in the air already. We don't know if it's in the air to him or from
I thought it was before.
in the air to Salam.
Yeah.
It was like coming out of the screen.
Okay, to what degree it's in the air there, that it stays there?
Yeah. Disc is here. We're at 1.
Okay.
That's
still
some
chasing, Greg.
conversations.
It is
Hold
a
up,
foul.
hold up, hold up.
It's coming in at
Thank
1
you.
right
You're
here. When you're ready.
Had some conversations with observers who've said they usually forget that they're mic'd until after the game when some production assistant comes and asks for the mic back. Pittsburgh with a pretty impressive goal line stand here.
Grey Duck just backing up and losing yards until that inside shot.
And that leads to the score. Ben Yacht once again didn't call his name until he caught the goal. Almost like he wasn't on the field at that point. It's great handler movement from Minnesota, preserve possession.
When you're being shadowed by Trent Dillon, it's not a surprise if you don't touch the disc, but ultimately that was a breakside goal. He's in the right place at the right time. Nice patience by Shah, throwing that backhand fake to open up the inside lane on that throw to Paletto.
So Minnesota isn't as big as it was on Friday morning, that's for sure. But coming into this tournament, they had the reputation of being the biggest team in the field, the most physically imposing with their size and their height and their athleticism and that whole package. You know, kind of the opposite of North Carolina, which had quickness but not a ton of size. Do you think Minnesota with Yacht and maybe with Tom Bacco and You know, perhaps a couple other guys as well can take advantage of that size. Isaac Ruff, 6'4". Can they use that size to their advantage against Pittsburgh?
You know, I think one of the knocks on Pittsburgh's defense is that they don't have size themselves, but thus far it hasn't cost them. Players like Mike Ng have matched up against much larger cutters without difficulty. I'm not sure that it's going to be quite as big a factor as we may expect. We'll see what the Gray Duck throwers elect to throw to.
Disc in the hands of Dylan Best.
Hey, we're coming in at 1. Let them make sure they're set. When you're ready, defense. Yep.
The junior cutter gets it to Dylan, who launches. Earls, no.
Off Earls' fingertips, that would have been his 3rd goal of this game.
You know what's interesting about this game so far, Ian? You think of Pat Earls as one of the most dangerous handlers in the sport. He's not playing that role right now.
Being a lot more aggressive downfield. I think Nick Kazmarek, their head coach, is not afraid to mix people around, especially offensively. So we see Minnesota attacking up the field quickly on the turn.
Oh, and in and out of the hands of Connor Anderson on the goal line. What a missed opportunity for Gray Duck.
Let's see if there's any contact here from a Pittsburgh defender, and Anderson perhaps not thinking he was a viable cut, cutting behind the mark.
That's a flub.
Yeah, I think you got to be ready for that.
The other way. Too far for Lemberg. I was shocked Connor Anderson dropped that disc. He had one of the great catches of the weekend in Minnesota's Saturday morning game against Carleton on a trailing edge disc with a defender in the area on the sideline. I didn't think he'd be able to make the catch. I didn't think he'd be able to stay in bounds. He did both, and that was a huge turnaround in that game as Yacht shows off his ability. Minnesota, another chance.
I believe he caught that between Christian Pitts and Pat Earls.
A lot of ultimate experience in those two defenders.
And perhaps 2 of the tallest players on the Pittsburgh roster.
Yacht's going to get familiar with those guys over the course of the game, you'd think. Travel called here.
So you're lefty backhand after already pivoting?
I don't think I pivoted.
Okay. All right. You want okay. My ruling, it's not a travel, it's there. 1.
So Trent Dillon thought Shaw had changed his pivot foot before he stepped across to throw that offhand backhand.
A bemused facial expression from Dillon after the call was made. Was that a lefty backhand? Anderson didn't drop it.
That's 2 for 2 for Shaw at that point.
Anderson with a goal, Minnesota with a break. Ten years ago, you didn't see too many opposite hand throws in Ultimate, and over the last decade, it feels like everybody has a reliable offhand throw.
It's becoming essential in any thrower's toolkit. You know, it's great to have it as a break throw on a goal line in a situation like that, or any type of break throw situation for that matter. But as marks get more and more aggressive and adaptive as well, it's worthwhile to have varying release points in case you need to get a high stall dump throw off. And that's just another throw you got to have in your arsenal that a defender might not expect.
Looks like the crowd's having fun.
They've certainly had all evening to prepare for this one. Looks like a good representation from the North Central contingent.
Now, there have been ultimate games started at 10:30 Eastern time. There have not been ultimate games started on the East Coast at 10:30 Eastern time that I'm aware of.
This is a new setting for both teams.
Now, some teams more and more struggling to get field space as that throw just awkwardly slipped out of the hands of Max Thorne. Some teams practice at 6 a.m., others practice from 10 to midnight.
It's all a matter of when you can convince your club sports board to give you field space.
Field space certainly a struggle for Minnesota in the winter. Pittsburgh doesn't have a tropical season either in the winter months. That's 3 in a row for the Duck. In the Twin Cities, when they're playing schoolyard games, they don't play duck, duck, goose. They play duck, duck, gray duck. And that's the origin of Minnesota's team name. Gray Duck finding Alex Jurley, the junior, gives the Duck their first lead.
He catches that pass and he says, feed me, I want more. He's not ready for this break train to stop.
Timeout, Pittsburgh. Did you know that story about duck, duck, gray duck in Minnesota?
I had no idea. You learn something new every day.
Learned it earlier this week, chatting with Tallis Boyd.
Side to side.
There's Aaron Watson.
Make long cuts. We're going to execute the way we know we've been able to this entire tournament. We have faith in each other in the circle. These are great players. Let's keep it simple. Let's work with our legs, make some plays.
He said in the beginning, we're coughing to this gut. They're not taking it from us. We're giving it to them. Clean us up, do us, play our game, and execute.
100% shots.
Hey,
Easy stuff. It's easy stuff.
We're going to go turn up to Slev. We're going to go with Max and Slev, Pat move. That's going to be our real emotional run.
So when we see this pull go up, expect Trent to center it to Slevin, and the rest of that string from there.
Well, over the past 2 years, even though Pittsburgh did not win the national title at Nationals, they were the presumptive favorite coming into the tournament. Really more so than they were when they won it in 2012 and 2013, I think. And yet, it felt like offensive execution betrayed Pittsburgh at critical times. Last year in pool play against Texas, Chase Cunningham, Joel Clutton were incredible. Knocked him off, forced him to play through the pre-quarter where they beat UNC Wilmington, but then struggled against a tougher UCF team in the quarters.
And I think the other knock on Pittsburgh last year, and there's a sight you'll never see again. A group of Carleton players rooting at the top of their lungs for a regional rival.
Oh, North Central pride. Carleton, the odd duck out, you might say, in the D pool. Losing to Minnesota and Pittsburgh yesterday after, and another poach D. The chain did not work out as Pittsburgh had planned on the line.
Connor Anderson looking like the strong contributor he has been after that earlier drop. Great block on Thorne's throw.
Yacht hammer, just shy of the end zone. Trantina resets. Meckler looks off, Yacht finds Anderson. Meckler to the end zone. 4 straight. Gray Duck quacking.
And again, I'll say a heads up play here by Anderson. Phenomenal block, peeling off and getting in front of Christian Pitts. But Max Thorne is smarter than that. You think back to that Pittsburgh huddle, they're giving the disc away and throwing into tighter situations than their offense needs to. This is not insurmountable, but this is a challenge for Pittsburgh.
Wyatt Meckler gave Pat Earls the little Ashland Joy shimmy right there to create that space for the inside flick.
Great parallel. I'm sure he'd love to hear that.
You can see the rain starting to come down. Not the first time today we've said that. Fans have grown pretty impervious to it as the day has gone on.
Just need to hope that the lightning steers clear until we can wrap this one up.
Earlier today, Pittsburgh and Wisconsin played in a steady rain, and you said Pittsburgh handled those circumstances well?
I would say yes. I think those circumstances helped their defense because Wisconsin's offense was predicated on more deep shots, relying on more people to stretch the field. And in these adverse conditions, it's challenging to execute like that consistently.
This is as heavy as the rain has been all day long here in Raleigh.
Another junk look here from the Minnesota defense.
Earls ahead.
You saw on that swing to Earls, Anderson coming all the way up, but not pulling the trigger on any kind of bid. And as he turned his back, that opened up that continuation throw.
A lot of different faces on this offensive point for Pittsburgh, mixing it up after Minnesota has run off 3 breaks in a row. Max Thorne. He was Pittsburgh's Callahan nominee a year ago and very close to winning it. He was a finalist. Jonathan Nethercutt got more votes though. To the end zone, Earls to Pitts. And Christian Pitts, that entire point, was just kind of hanging out back there, waiting for an opening.
Sometimes that's what you got to do, just occupy space, make a defender respect you. Earls even had a second to size that one up. You know, if I'm the Minnesota defense, I'm not terribly upset with that point. The conditions are getting more and more challenging. You forced Pittsburgh to throw some loopy swings. In these conditions, you want the offense to have to complete more and more and more passes than normal.
I would not be surprised if they showed that defense again. Christian Pitts has grown into a leadership role. All season long, the goal has been about building to nationals, which is a little bit different mindset than Pittsburgh had last year. A season ago, at every tournament, they wanted to peak. They wanted to have great regular season wins, and they did. A year ago, they won 3 regular season tournaments. One of the reasons they were such a heavy favorite, but you know, a team like Carleton every year, the reputation of building towards Memorial Day weekend. And I think there was certainly a shift in mindset from Pittsburgh in 2016. A good poach there from the Pittsburgh defender. That's not Ing, it's Kevin Tang. Not a freshman, but a senior.
Pittsburgh's Sam Van Duzen picking up here with the chance to break.
This feels like the tennis match where the server might struggle. You might see a lot of breaks back and forth here because of the conditions, and frankly, neither offense has looked all that efficient and in sync so far.
Like you said, with these conditions, I don't expect that to change.
Coming in 2? No, you're coming in 2. Yeah. Hey, we're coming in at 2. When you're ready.
Morgenstern swings it to Tang. Oh, and Tang's throw was behind the intended target. He was looking for Ng, and Yacht got a piece of it, and Yacht's taking off. Can he get there? He can! Bookends for Ben Yacht, and Minnesota leads by 2 again.
Meckler picks up the disc. Yacht took off right after that turnover, and I don't think Ng was quite expecting it. You see here, they're even, and Ng turns his hips to go with him on that in cut, and that's just the separation that Yacht needed. Tang getting a little greedy on that inside flick. You know, perhaps that inside flick didn't go quite as far inside as Tang might have wanted because of the rain.
And Ng probably thinking, oh, I'm going to get a layout D on Ben Yacht on an under, and just like that, boom, he's gone. Next time, he'll probably just give that under to Yacht, don't you think?
Definitely position his body, or at least not commit his hips to that undercut until he's further along.
University of Minnesota practicing in all kinds of conditions throughout the year.
Yeah.
With a berth in the championship on the line. They were down 3-1, now they lead 6-4. And of course, Minnesota, a program that's still trying to get over the ghost of a few years ago, as Earls looks for Dillon, and that was really easy. A few years ago, Minnesota was the #1 seed going into regionals. They have a really tough region with Wisconsin and Carleton, and they did not make it to the big dance despite the fantastic regular season. A lot of people have thought Minnesota's a team that can't handle the big moments, but here, Pittsburgh responding on offense.
And Slevin's Oyo is really the throw that makes this offensive point entirely possible. He gives Earls a ton of space. That lefty flick break huck is perhaps the favorite throw in Earls' arsenal.
And earlier today, Jonathan Nethercutt, last year's Callahan Award winner, gave it to Trent Dillon. Those guys used to ride in the car together to tournaments. Trent Dillon was spending summers in North Carolina. Didn't know Nethercutt until he called him one day on the phone and said there was this guy with a really thick Southern accent. I could barely understand him. And Trent's been playing Ultimate since he was about 8 years old. His father is a player in Philadelphia. Over the course of his maturation, he played in summer leagues. His father used to barter with the other guys in the league. Hey, can my son get in for a point? And then another kid would show up and they'd be able to guard each other. And that's how he honed his skills at a very young age. Do they play summer league in conditions like this?
I don't know that they'll cancel the games, but it's not something your average rec league player is going to excel
Yeah,
at.
they're usually at the bar by now.
What count? Where you were when the pick was called? Coming for?
Same 4.
Coming for!
Sam Kaminsky with the disc. Yacht at midfield. In conditions like this, it can be tough to attack the disc on an under with the same ferocity and aggressiveness you normally would. That was a nice job by Tony Paletto. Meckler with his jersey dripping, threw it a little too far.
We talked to Tallis Boyd and the Minnesota coaches about playing in these conditions. He says this is nothing compared to the North Central Regionals that they've competed in years past. Factor in this rain, but not only about 20 or more degrees cooler, and that's what these guys have had to deal with. Not to mention the cold weather they've practiced in leading up to their later spring tournaments.
Yeah, even the teams that won games said that regionals were some of the worst ultimate conditions they've played in. Ryan Oscar, who's injured for this one, told me earlier this week that for a week afterwards, I couldn't feel my feet because I was standing in the rain for 9 hours. That disc popped in and out of the grasp of Earls in a red zone giveaway. Pitt turning it over right near their own goal line, so just about 10 yards for Meckler and Grey Duck to go.
I don't think Van Dusen knew who was going to be there.
Threads the needle. It counts. Tristan Vandy Mortel, the Frenchman, makes it 7-5.
Van Dusen looking for Earls on the swing. He can't quite keep that one in bounds. And Trent Dillon just gets caught face guarding after Vandy Mortel makes his first upline cut. Heads up play from Vandy Mortel to take advantage of that.
North Central weather is the echo from the crowd. When you're a college ultimate player, you dream about being on this stage. Sunday night, Memorial Day weekend, college nationals against a program like Pittsburgh, under the lights, on ESPN, guarding the Callahan winner. In that fantasy, you're not thinking about the driving downpour.
That's the last thing on your mind. Every iteration of that imagination is in perfect ultimate conditions, the sun setting.
There's no zone defense on that day. It's just one huck after another. Wyatt Meckler's really picking up the pace without Oscar, without Bumstead. And Cole Wallen, the 5'11 freshman from Minneapolis, played YCC with Superior in the Twin Cities. He made one of the great layout Ds of the tournament in Minnesota's pre-quarter game against #1 seed Minnesota. He got the D, he landed on his shoulder and his elbow. He dislocated his elbow, he was in the hospital last night. He's on the sidelines today. He said he's on some painkillers and he'll be good to go in about 6 weeks.
A huge block in that game against UMass.
This is Jack Slevin to Dillon. For Thorne, no. Yacht read Dillon's eyes and saw the throw before it was coming.
He peeled off his man who was deeper in the stack and got to that break side cone. Great heads up defense from Yacht.
Timeout, Grey Duck.
As Dillon thought Thorne was going to be uncontested going to the cone. Yacht thinking one step ahead there.
Well, Ben Yacht, an interesting story. He was homeschooled just in his second year on Grey Duck. He transferred to Minnesota from a community college, and I mean, he played with Sub-Zero last summer. He's been throwing for a long time. He was a football player in high school. But I think he's a guy who's just kind of scratching the surface of the kind of player he can be.
Trust each other, trust the work. Wherever we come out this one, we work our ass off. Now, here we go. Let's go. Let's go. Hit on three. 1, 2, 3.
And Nick Kasmarek kind of removing the score and the result from the context of his message. No matter what happens, we're going to leave it all out there.
Minnesota with a chance to break and go into halftime with an 8-5 lead. And let's be honest, Evan, we were catching up with the coaches on the field in the final minutes before the opening poll. Tallis Boyd tells us Ryan Osgar's out. We knew they had a couple other injuries. Between ourselves, We thought that was case closed. This game is going in Pitt's favor no matter what.
I think Tallis Boyd was like, we're going to give it all we got. But this is a David versus Goliath type contest.
Yacht peeling deep.
But he also said, this is why we train all year. We got to win it with our legs. Tallis Boyd knows how to win a championship. Won a couple with the mixed team from Minneapolis, Dragon Thrust. And this year he's going to be an assistant coach under Jake Henderson with Dragon Thrust.
Henderson coaching the Team USA mixed team, who's got a practice weekend.
This could take half. Yacht, was he in? Not yet. That'll work. What a performance from Grey Duck in these swampy conditions in Raleigh.
Tony Paletto maybe throwing up after catching that goal. He's been running quite a bit, going hard in the paint against Carl Morgenstern this first half.
Yacht picks up the assist. You know, it feels like Pittsburgh has been worn down by these conditions and Minnesota has been fueled by them.
This is surprising because in this situation, we know Minnesota's barely running a 12-person rotation. Pittsburgh's notorious for its depth, being able to send an army of defenders out there. Just aren't able to execute with the disc.
Nick Kazmarek told me before the game, we're at war. We're a team in battle. First battle of this war goes to the Grey Duck. No question about that. Pittsburgh led 3-1, got an early break. Minnesota got it right back when Connor Anderson scored from Yacht. And the Grey Duck just kept on quacking. A 7-2 run to take half. At the break, it's Grey Duck 8, En Sabah Nur 5. Minnesota leading Pittsburgh 8-5 at the half. A date with Harvard lined up for the winner. That will be tomorrow on Memorial Day Monday here in North Carolina. Minnesota trailed this one 3-1 as Pittsburgh got off to the good start, but then Minnesota took charge, Ian.
Yeah, we take a look at the highlights here. Minnesota trailing 1-0 at this point. Nice throw to Ben Yacht, his first goal of the game in the end zone there.
Would not be the last.
No, sir. Pat Earls hanging on for his second goal of the game. A nice offhand backhand from Shaw, his second offhand backhand on that point. Connor Anderson hung on to that one. And this break here, caught by Jurley, gave Minnesota their first lead of the game at 4-3. Earls navigating the zone, artfully finding Christian Pitts in the back of the end zone. And then Ben Yacht getting the bookends. The block and turning on the Jets. Mike Ing over pursuing on the in-cut. And Yacht starting to bring the house down with that one. And here we saw Pitt start to get back into an offensive rhythm. This is a play they've run a million times. This is what they want to do to get their offense comfortable. That's Pat Earl's favorite throw in the world.
When the pull play works, Pitt looks as good as anybody. But when they get mucked up, that's when they start to struggle.
And here's the final score before half. Yacht sticking with Paletto as he runs that S-cut, taking his defender all the way to the line and then pivoting back to the inside. Minnesota, Meckler with 4 assists, Yacht with 3 goals, Van de Mortel with 2 goals of his own. Earls leading the way for Pittsburgh with 2 goals and 2 assists.
And Pittsburgh trailing by 3 at the half here in Raleigh. One half of Ultimate remaining on semifinal Sunday at 2016 College Nationals. We saw Harvard outlast a lightning delay and a furious dark side second half rally to prevail. The 10th seed Harvard Redline heading to its first championship game in school history with a 13-11 win over North Carolina. And over the next hour, we'll find out who will join Redline on Memorial Day Monday. Pittsburgh and Minnesota battling for the right to face Redline tomorrow. Plenty of pure passion in the stands here in Raleigh. It's been a long day here at the WRAL Soccer Park, but we're set for the start of the second half. And it's Pittsburgh trailing by 3, launching the pull. Minnesota with a hold could go up by 4. Without Ryan Oscar, without Sam Bumstead, without Cole Wallen, without much of a problem so far, but lots of Ultimate to go. Still more than a half hour until soft cap. Meckler, he had 4 assists in the first half. That's Paletto. He caught the score to take it to half. And to the end zone, an open side cut. Tristan Vandy Mortel. 9-5.
Where is this Pittsburgh defense? I think that defender just kind of went to sleep on the open side cut. Ing gets even. Ing shifts around to get even with him, perhaps thinking that he's going to make a cut to the break side, and it's just an open side throw to space. Nice job by Sam Kaminsky to recognize Ing with his back to the thrower, giving the offense the natural advantage there. Tristan Vandy Mortel, his 3rd goal this evening. Again, had been considering leaving Minnesota and going to play for Colorado Mama Bird as he continued his graduate education, but electing to stay at Minnesota with Grey Duck, helping the program to their first semis appearance and perhaps knocking on the door of their first finals appearance as well.
Lots of clacking going on here in Raleigh.
The crowd certainly on Minnesota's side.
Trent Dillon might need to put this team on his back. And a pick call downfield. You know, we're a long way away from really delving into a possible Minnesota-Harvard matchup. But I'm starting to think about the historical context a little bit. I'm not positive about the answer to this question. But when was the last time 2 teams that had never won a college championship met in the title game? If you think over the past decade, there have been a lot of repeat winners. Florida, Wisconsin, Colorado, Pittsburgh, Carleton. North Carolina won it last year for the first time, but knocking off Oregon team, I suppose.
Florida, another repeat winner.
Oregon won back in the early 90s. It's a turnover. Soham Shah will pick it up.
And Dillon trying to get this to Blade into Thorne, but ultimately underthrown. There's a travel call as Shaw picks up on the cone.
Every year for at least a decade now, the conversation has been, well, could this team win their first title, or could this team win their first title since? It's alluring to think about a matchup with two teams looking to pursue their first glory ever. But enough fantasizing about the future. Let's focus on the present. Minnesota has the disc, looking for a 5-goal lead, and well, I'm not sure what Pittsburgh talked about at halftime, but they don't look like they've solved all the problems. Maybe in a dry day, that flick goes up. Took some time, cross field, and out of bounds.
Poor choice there from Shaw. He had a reset coming back who was open a lot earlier in the stall count. That was a really ambitious throw as Earls uncorks a deep shot.
To the end zone, Christian Pitts. Pittsburgh needed something like that.
Christian Pitts, not usually one to show emotion, but after ripping this one down from Pat Earls, he's going to do everything he can to give his team some life and get them back in this game.
Christian Pitts has just steadily improved over the course of his ultimate career. From Finksburg, Maryland. Stands 6'3", and he's used his height to catch a couple goals so far tonight. Pretty soon we're going to have to change that graphic and say a couple goals this morning.
Interesting to see Kazmarek and Hogan and the rest of the coaching staff keeping someone like Pitts on the offensive unit at this point. You're getting closer and closer to that moment when more and more players need to cross over.
Lefty pole launched by Sam Van Dusen. Meckler will run the offense. Downfield, a pick was called. Disc will stay with Meckler, and Morgenstern on the mark.
I think people are ready, guys. Let's go. Let's go, guys.
Decent downfield defense. He has to chuck it. And Pittsburgh knocks it away.
That's a coverage sack of sorts.
Dillon will try to make it happen. When Trent Dillon was just a sophomore and Pittsburgh played top seed Oregon in the semifinals, it was Trent Dillon that was trusted with the primary responsibility of trying to stop that year's Callahan winner, Dylan Freechild. And while Dillon was not completely isolated for that whole game, he made his mark. The 2016 Callahan Award winner did just enough to give his team the win. Tyler DiGirolamo and Alex Thorne contributed a little bit too.
Just a little bit. And an embarrassment of riches for the U.S. men's team as Dillon, Freechild, and DiGirolamo are all now teammates contributing on their quest to London next month.
Trent Dillon as well. John Stubbs too, if he's got anything left in the tank after his historic performance earlier tonight. I wonder what he told George when he got him on the phone.
Oh man, I'd do anything to listen to that conversation.
So a stoppage here. Max Thorne entering. And you saw Kevin Tang running off. Soham Shah in for Grayduck. And the substitution, a result of the injury to Vandy Mortel.
You hope it's not serious, but the way Minnesota's been playing with this next man up mentality.
Next
and
duck up, really.
Yeah, not letting them phase, not letting anything phase them.
Oh, you see.
He grabs his hamstring. That's never a good sign. Great work by our crew, able to get that shot.
Most Ultimate players have had that hamstring tighten up at one point or another. Certainly all the muscles are tired for every one of these athletes. Under the sweltering sun all day Friday and Saturday. Different type of challenge with the conditions today, and another unforced giveaway from Pitt. Shah up the line. Yacht airs it out. Counts. No. Dylan Tranquillo knocked it away. What an addition he has been this year for Pittsburgh.
He read that huck better than anyone else as soon as it went up.
No foul on the throw. That was just a prayer from Van Dusen.
Definitely came out lower than he wanted. Great save by Sam Kaminsky. Perhaps going to the observers.
Down. We need a check. We need a check. We need a check for White.
And here we're seeing some signs of fatigue. 2 sloppy back-to-back turnovers.
Hard to tell.
Does he get his left hand completely under the rim?
I think I agree with the call, but I'm not confident at all. And
Meckler getting a piece of Morgenstern's break throw attempt. The observer's gonna uphold the foul call.
Coming one.
Morgenstern will get the disc once again.
Morgenstern. Van Dusen. Morgenstern gets it to Thorne, and Pittsburgh back within 2, or not so fast. The score coming back. Pittsburgh will keep possession.
My ruling is that there's no foul. The disc is in there. We have a goal.
Wow.
It wouldn't have mattered anyways because it's like a pick. It's like a pick. It would honestly, it wouldn't have mattered because it's like a pick. It didn't affect the play, right? Play on the field, play down here.
We'll see if you can see the middle of the stack, just to the left of our view, and it wasn't Shah's man.
Yeah, I think he was upset that they were easy and, sorry, I think he was upset that Graves put the forearm into Shah to try and get position towards that open side, which is sometimes just a habitual move when you've got someone that close to you. It's not always done with the intent of gaining an unfair advantage. Just a natural reaction to jockeying for position.
And then there's Michael Jordan and Byron Russell, but different story.
Different story, different sport.
Jordan had different rules than everyone else as well. Really impressed with the enthusiasm of the crowds, although they have nowhere better to be. Where else would you want to be? 15 minutes shy of Monday here in Raleigh. Pittsburgh has something left in the tank. Offsides on the pull.
Was that against Minnesota?
It's a great question, and I'm not entirely sure. It's an inconsequential penalty on the first offsides. You get one warning. You think if we changed that and you didn't get any warnings, there wouldn't be as many offsides?
I'm sure it would still happen. You notice incremental differences of how aggressively players can cover the pull.
Kaminsky centers to Meckler. Morgenstern on the mark. Contact as Paletto made the catch. And ahead, Isaac Ruff. Launches for Yacht. He had cut off his deep look. And miscommunication from Grey Duck gives it back to Pittsburgh. And Yacht claiming responsibility.
Here's a fun matchup. Yacht and Christian Pitts. Perhaps the two tallest players on both rosters.
Big backhand from Van Dusen. Morgenstern goes up. There was certainly contact, but was it a foul? The two things not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Can we listen to the observer mics here?
So we're coming here, or we sending it back?
Yeah, of course. Okay.
What? You're coming here? You came.
Hold on, we need a check.
40 seconds.
Ben,
Oh, it's just defender.
Minnesota is getting a blue card for the double team.
Excessive double teams nets the blue card, which is a warning. Oh, and Morgenstern bidding to get the disc back.
He's been due for one of those.
He has.
Been frustrating everyone in the dump set all game, shadowing as closely as he can.
And sometimes, Ian, you and I both know great handler defense can lead to nothing for 20 points, and then on that 21st, it changes the game. The constant pressure finally pays off, and it's 9-8.
And here's Yacht turning, thinking he's got Meckler. Great recognition by Morgenstern, and just a miscommunication here from the the Minnesota defenders. I think Yacht thought his man helping in the lane was going to take Pitts as he went to the cone. He didn't take him, and we've seen, for the intensity of defense that both of these teams are supposed to have, we've seen a number of open side cone scores. A surprising volume of those so far this game.
Focus a little bit more now, right? The swings are a little tighter. The unders are a little tighter. The deep shots are a little tighter. That's fine, but we have to focus in on that and make sure we hit that goal. And on defense, keep bringing the pressure. It's good pressure deep. All right, sideline, not enough. Let's go. Let's go. You have to work. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Work.
They've got a one-score lead, but Pittsburgh has the momentum back. Remember when it was 9-5? That seems like a distant memory. One thing that coaches across the country and across the complex this weekend have stressed, the importance of energy on the sidelines, and you know how big that is. And ultimate, Tallis Boyd ended his thing with, we need more from the sidelines.
Certainly has a lot of help from the crowd. not necessarily
You don't always have that.
The Minnesota sideline players themselves.
Minnesota's offense back on the field. We're 14 minutes away from soft cap. Ian Toner, let me tell you, they're not always this good.
We've been spoiled here. You know, Whitman took care of Virginia in our first semifinal of the game, but every matchup we've seen since then has more or less come down to the wire.
During pool play, we're out watching all the games, and if one gets a little too lopsided, you turn around and, oh, there's a great game, and usually there's too many to count. And I think Yacht made the catch.
Preach. That's Trent Dillon bidding, trying to get to the disc and trying to come over top of him and just landing right on top of Yacht. And Yacht can call injury here, and because there was contact with an opposing player, he can call injury but does not have to remove himself from the field of play.
What do you think of that bid from Dillon?
He's an aggressive player. I've seen him make over-the-shoulder bids and get those discs before. That one was a little challenging. I think he's recognizing that and apologizing to Yacht right now.
And that's the type of dangerous play that the sport really needs to eliminate. Otherwise, injuries are going to become more and more apparent as guys get more athletic and stronger and more physical. But I agree with you, it's a hard line to draw because Dillon, as you said, has made plays like that in the past.
Foul call didn't affect the play.
This is the point of the game where stoppages, while they become annoying, anyone on the field is taking every fresh breath they can when they don't have to move to try to recharge in the middle of the point.
And that's a deliberate strategy for some teams. Think back to the Florida Ultimate days of the late aughts and early years of this decade. They run that tight rotation. They make those calls to give themselves as much rest as possible on the field.
Remember it well. Florida winning a championship first in '06 and then again in 2010. Look into the end zone. There was a little shoulder-to-shoulder contact from the two number 10s, but no call made. Paletto and Thorne battling to the brink.
And Thorne was actually going to call a foul there if Paletto came up with that one. A little forearm shiver. And Paletto's actually going to take an injury. Hope we can see him come back. He's been especially impactful for them.
Looks like a cramp. They're working on him on the sidelines. Max Thorne will reinitiate play. I think we have a big Max Thorne moment to come. Certainly capable.
I think the rest of the pit viewers are hoping that's in store as well.
Pittsburgh in its 12th straight year attending college nationals. The last 6 years, their Callahan nominees were Trent Dillon, Max Thorne, Marcus Rainey Dropcho, Tyler DiGirolamo, Alex Thorne, and Chris Brennenborg, who's forgotten, but he was a top handler as well. This year's Callahan Award winner, Dillon, goes up for the sky. And through the contact, into the end zone to tie this thing up. 9 minutes until soft cap, 9-all on the scoreboard.
Trent Dillon getting the better of Ben Yacht on that deep shot. Coming in at an awkward angle, both of them had a chance to size it up. Dillon keeping Yacht on his back hip and going up early. With the and one throw through the contact to Sam Van Dusen.
Count it and the foul.
So Evan, I believe this is our first tie since 3-3.
You are correct. We're tied at ones, tied at threes, and now tied at nines. And Pittsburgh En Sabah Nur on a 4-0 run.
8 minutes away from the soft cap. Hard to think this game will actually reach 15.
Even though it's almost Monday, I'm not sure anyone's eager for this night to end. You're already wet. You're already tired. You're already hurting. We just get to sit back and relax and watch it unfold. Shaw with a big fake. And now he'll let it fly. Oh, Meckler came back to the disc and took it away from Toll. Stall count rising, reset to Shaw. Ruff. Meckler, about 20 yards from the end zone, resets. Tied at 9 in the second semifinal. Lefty backhand, it floats and hangs long enough. Meckler to Yacht.
Once again, that offhand throw, as you mentioned, proving valuable. We take a look at this huck that came off much shorter than Shaw wanted.
Caught it. He caught the disc and Toll's arm simultaneously.
Meckler gets the game ball on that point.
This kid has really grown up. A junior from Hopkins, Minnesota. You know, the triangle ultimate scene here in North Carolina is great. And obviously, you know, Western Massachusetts, and great scene in Georgia with Paideia and Seattle and Vancouver. You don't hear a lot of people talking about the Twin Cities and the surrounding land of 1,000 lakes that has fostered a great ultimate community in the youth ranks as well. But a lot of these players on Grey Duck have been brought up through that system, and it has really paid off tonight.
Yeah, they've gone on to stack the ranks of Minnesota, Wisconsin, lots of other North Central rosters.
Pittsburgh's turn to try and respond. Earls for Dillon. There it is. Dillon over Anderson. And it's 10-all. Doesn't it feel like Pittsburgh is sort of trying to ride Dillon a little bit more here in the second half?
He's stepping up and making plays when his team needs him to. Great break throw from Slevin to get that started. Giving Earls the time and space to set up his deep shot.
Earls is having one heck of a game statistically. And Dillon going deep over Yacht on the previous point and past Anderson on the last one. The Grey Duck sidelines are flapping. There's Pat Earls. That was his 4th assist. He scored the first 2 goals of the game for Pittsburgh. Paletto ahead for Shaw. Yacht, a lot of space downfield, but he couldn't break free of Pitts. They launch it anyway. Yacht and Pitts, and Ben Yacht goes up, throws the score. Isaac Ruff was there. 6-6 to 6-4 for that score.
Not the offensive hold that Minnesota drew up when they were talking it through on the line. Kaminsky perhaps throwing to a matchup, though Christian Pitts is no slouch either. But Yacht's just got the height and actually throws with Pitts still on the ground. 11-10 Grey Duck. Worth noting that we're just 2 minutes from soft cap.
And tomorrow I might ask you to give me your all-universe line for the tournament, your 7 best players in the women's division and the men's division. I think that might be a guy who makes the team. Ben Yacht.
Absolutely. Maybe John Stubbs, maybe Mark Vandenberg, you never know.
They've got a chance to make the cut. That's 3 of your 7 slots already, though. Think about this. We'll check back in tomorrow.
I'll accept some bribes before we go on the air as well.
He's saying he can be bought, folks. Red Bull, his drug of choice today. Pittsburgh down by 1. Less than a minute until soft cap. Earls' Blady flick, handled well, looking for Thorne in the end zone. Thorne on the second effort, could not haul it in. Zach Trosvig, the freshman, defending for Minnesota.
Thorne had the separation, looked like he had his hand on the disc as well as he went up. Trosvig coming through. Trosvig definitely got a finger on that as well. Great second effort by Thorne. Can't pull it in.
Soft cap will go on after this point. It'll either be 12-10 game to 14 or 11-all game to 13. This would make it 12-10. What a shot. Soham Shah to Ben Yacht. Pittsburgh needs to score 4 of the next 5 points. Otherwise, it'll be Grey Duck and Red Line tomorrow.
It's the point.
Shaw doesn't care how deep Yacht already is when he throws this. He doesn't care how wet it is, how wet the disc is. He's just throwing to a matchup, and a well-executed throw at that. Christian Pitts never had a chance.
He cares about number 4. Not quite John Stubbs' numbers, but not bad. Good Monday morning, everybody on the East Coast. Later today, it'll be Harvard versus the winner of this one. You think the ladies of Whitman and Stanford are still awake? Probably not. They have a championship game at noon tomorrow. The men's game scheduled for 2:30. Harvard awaits the winner. It's a game to 14.
The coaches certainly want them in bed, but I wouldn't be surprised if the championship jitters have them up right now.
Hopefully the hotel has good Wi-Fi. Pittsburgh, every possession precious, especially right now. Thorne, low throw, no! Hartley went sliding. It looked like he was there, but he could not make the play.
And he was there. Oh, tried to do the baseball slide, and I think his back knee got caught on the ground and prevented him from sliding in the way he wanted.
Minnesota to counter. This is going to be shy of the end zone. And the catch made inbounds by Blake Trantina. But there was a call back on the right side goal line. A travel was called on Shaw by Jack Slevin. And they'll discuss it. Looks like the disc is coming back. That feels like an important 60-yard swing right there.
Mitch Dangler stepping in for the active ruling after, I believe, Slevin elected to go to the observer.
Thorne with a good handler defense. Minnesota keeps it alive. A sliding catch there from Trantina. Shaw, Blady on the money. Another one. It's Jurley. Oh! Pittsburgh perhaps just saved the game. In the end zone, Kyle Hartley laying out for the D. You won't see plays much better than this.
That's a textbook example of full extension, laying your body on the line.
If Pittsburgh can rally, we'll look back at that play from the sophomore Kyle Hartley, who was shaken up in the process.
Hartley making up the ground and then exploding to get that block.
Attacking the disc, Dillon, marked by Anderson. Here's Slevin. Wide open Thorne. Meckler approaching on the mark, and from downfield, a stoppage, a pick. Don't worry, folks. There's no hard cap in the semis and the finals anymore. We're playing a 14 regardless of how long it takes. A couple more mistakes like that, we won't be here too much longer.
And that looks reminiscent of the errant swing in the Pittsburgh UNC Wilmington matchup a few years ago.
2014 quarterfinals in Cincinnati, you're absolutely right. That was on Universe Point when Pittsburgh was on offense, and once again, Minnesota can't punch it in. Christian Pitts snuck in for the D on the poach.
And Pitts was taking off deep with almost no one on him. I don't think Earl saw him. One of the more trigger-happy throwers would have been happy to uncork it, but listening to his sideline and calling a timeout.
When we get into it, when we're in positions.
Pitts sneaks in.
Good offensive set. We're just kind of scattered. Let's get into an offensive set. Let's be able to run cuts and see lanes.
And make sure you make space for your Omega or for your cutters. You got to make space for it. Okay. 8 to 14 no matter what.
Okay, we're going 11 in the reset, Max in the 2, DB in the 1. We're going shoot to mirror. So we're not shooting the offense. The mirror's going to be, so I have the force. You're right at force. Okay, what you said. Hey, line up, set you up.
This is awesome.
Not many other major sports settings where you get to hear the play call
before it happens. Sometimes you get it after. NBA has mic'd up everything. You get the sound bites afterwards, not beforehand. Earls will have the disc. Shaw on the mark. Yacht and Pitts matched up in the middle of the stack. Thorne coming under. Slevin. And Pitts on the under. Slevin gets it around Thorne. Another kid that learned from his father, Henry Thorne, longtime fixture in the Ultimate community. Member of the USA Ultimate Board.
Maybe the most vocal parent in the stands at every tournament.
There are a lot of supportive and vocal parents, but he's certainly up there. Slevin to Dillon. He's in. Anderson with a nice bid, but Dillon got there. And it's 12-11. Well, they didn't hit Pitts before the timeout, but after the timeout, the offense was smooth and crisp.
Bunch of strike cuts and simple attacking up the line, even on this final throw here. Dillon coming from the break side, striking that four-side cone, and barring an injury, which no one would like to see, Dillon's not leaving the field for the rest of this game.
Don't think his coach would try to take him off, and if he did, don't think he would listen. And I think Nick Kazmarek has enough respect for his guys. You know, his seniors are gonna live or die to see another day on their own. So Minnesota on offense. Certainly a pro Minnesota crowd by and large. The team that has never been here before. Yacht was coming under. They looked him off. Being marked by Michael Ing, who's had some trouble with Yacht tonight. Although he's not alone in that department. Underneath, contested. No call, it's a D. Dylan Tranquillo. One of the few guys on Pittsburgh who never played any ultimate before coming to college. Dylan wasn't in yet, although he was ready to celebrate like he was. Quick reset, Morgenstern, big fake.
This is when it's toughest to have that patience.
Dylan trying to quarterback his team into the end zone. Tang back to Dylan. Man, Minnesota to have the wherewithal to play goal line D after all they've been through, short on numbers, several key veterans hurt.
He's right here, we're good, we're coming in one.
Van Dusen looking for anybody who can get free. Oh, that was cheeky, and it was a little too daring.
And Dylan's gonna call a strip.
And the call has been rescinded.
Meckler with a great heads-up play. Awfully close. I think Dylan might have had an argument.
When we get another stoppage, we'll take another look at that a little bit slower. Nobody was cutting deep, and this will be a turnover. Let's take another look. Did Dylan stop rotation?
Don't think he stopped rotation. Definitely got a good portion of his hand on it.
And another call as we return to live action. You missed one first throw about 10 yards forward.
Yeah, a couple throws back.
And a pick downfield will send it back.
You're farther over this way. Right here.
The crowd's energy has not fizzled one iota.
What was that? It was right as you were catching. Let's just. No, it was right there.
Stall count at 1. Kevin Tang with a disc. Regardless of what happens, the competitors in this game will never forget being in Raleigh on this Memorial Day Sunday night, Monday morning. Van Dusen wants Dylan, he's got him. Yacht chasing Dylan around. That might hamper Dylan as a deep cutter, but as a throw and go guy in the handler core, maybe it gives Dylan a chance to do some damage and take advantage of his quickness.
Definitely an advantage for Dylan in that setting.
Van Dusen gets it off and gets it back to the end zone. Got it. Dylan Tranquillo has had a remarkable night. An unheralded kid who has grown into this team and taken a bigger role this year, ties it at 12. After all this, it's a game to 2. And it was such a long point, easy to forget. This was a break.
Zero, Evan. Game to 2. 2. I can't tell you how many times I bet these teams have run these simulations in practice.
I'd be fine if it was 0-0 game to 15 because this is so much fun, but at some point you got to put a bow on the night.
So the crowd is just standing out of real sport. They were.
Earls and Graves and Ing and Thorne. At the other end, Shaw, Anderson, Couts, Yacht, Meckler. Kaminsky catches the pull, centers to Meckler. This is not for the game, this point. Game to 14, but whoever scores this one has a huge edge, obviously. Shaw thought about it. Couts was running deep. Now Couts coming under. Didn't attack it, but had enough of a cushion to let it float in. Now Meckler.
Great dump defense from Graves and Earls.
Taking the shot, that'll work. Meckler to Anderson. Minnesota, if it scores on one of the next 2 points, headed to the championship game.
That's so frustrating for the Pittsburgh defense. They're locked in here. They're taking away those primary options. Meckler at a late stall count realizes he's got to look downfield and just drops a pinpoint hammer into the back corner. That's demoralizing for a defense.
That throw takes some kind of chutzpah in this moment. Minnesota might have lost that game to Carleton yesterday morning without that great catch from Connor Anderson. Really felt like it changed the momentum of the game in pool play. Without that win, Minnesota might not have made the bracket. In fact, I think we can say declaratively, without that win, Minnesota would not be here right now.
Unbelievable effort from Grey Duck, missing 3 of their most important contributors, running a tight rotation. Players dropping with injuries as the night goes on.
It's must-score time for Pittsburgh. They've been in this spot before.
And we've seen that offensive set before.
Earls to Dillon. He's in.
That's when the Pittsburgh offense is at their most comfortable. Slevin has time and space to throw a break throw to Earls. And when Earls receives that on the break side, he's got nothing but time to wind up. You know, he's done that a couple of times before. I want to see the mark there, Neil Peterson, be a little more aggressive and challenge that windup.
Well, it's a game to 14. Pittsburgh will need a break to win. The college champs in 2012 and 2013, looking for their 3rd title in 5 years. And for a moment, as Pittsburgh takes a time, let's think about all the legacies that are on the line with this next point.
Trent Dillon, Pat Earls.
It's a ballast point, El Dorado watermelon. Yeah, it is. All right, that beer's a metaphor, right? Stay with me, Brian. That's a metaphor, right? You got that? It's a simile. Right? About 4 or 5 days, I'm going to go home. I'm going to drink that beer. Irrespective of whether we win or lose that game, I'm going to go home. I'm going to drink that beer. I'm going to get in the van. I'm going to drive to Seattle. All right? This and that beer, it's going to be a hell of a lot sweeter. It's all going to happen no matter what. Everything beyond this game is going to happen no matter what. We're going to smile. We're going to be best friends for life. Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a lot sweeter if we get this win. Yeah. Let's go get it. Come on. Yeah.
I've got goosebumps, Evan.
It's your 2016 Callahan Award winner with the last words before the most important point of the 2016 season.
Trent Dillon looking ahead to his future. He's going to be moving to Seattle to pursue a graduate degree.
There's some guys who play for Sockeye who might be interested in Trent's services. Let's see who's on the field. Tranquillo looks like he's going to get the nod with Tang, Thorne, Dillon, Morgenstern, Earls, and I assume that's Pitts, couldn't tell. Kaminsky, Anderson, Couts, Yacht, Paletto, with Shaw and Meckler. You always wonder who's going to be on the field when it's all on the line. Here we go. Harvard awaits the winner. As Trent Dillon said, no matter how this ends, we'll remember it for a very long time. Meckler. Yacht.
Wow, incredible defense downfield from Dylan Tranquillo. He and Josh Couts battling. Not sure if the cameras caught that, but they collided at midfield. Uncontested foul here. Disc will come in at stalling 1.
Yacht thought about this shot. He had Paletto going. Up the line to Meckler. Minnesota has never been to the title game before.
Not sure what the call is here.
Counting violation.
Good one.
And a violation on the restart. You think about how many times Grey Duck has worked on its red zone offense since the program began. It all has led to this. Meckler's got it again. And was he in? He was! Minnesota Grey Duck has done it.
We look here, Shaw takes his cut all the way to the break side, opening up a quick little four-side turnaround cut. Dillon, hard to say that he over pursues. He's got to respect that. So much horizontal responsibility when you're that close to the goal line.
Meckler to Shaw to send Grey Duck to the championship game. Minnesota has eliminated Pittsburgh. And in a matchup that literally no one saw coming, it'll be Harvard and Minnesota, the 4 seed and the 10 seed, to square off later today. 14-13, Grey Duck over Pittsburgh. We will be back. The 2016 USA Ultimate College Championships are presented by Discraft Ultrastar, the official disc of USA Ultimate. Discraft Ultrastar now available at over 1,900 U.S. retail locations, including all Dick's Sporting Goods and Hibbett stores. Buy 5 Ultimate, apparel made specifically for Ultimate players by Ultimate players. Visit 5ultimate.com for everything from Discraft Ultrastars to jerseys, shorts, and custom team uniforms. And by USA Ultimate, the national governing body for the sport of Ultimate in the United States. For more information or to find out where to play in your area, visit usaultimate.org. The term universe point, obviously slightly hyperbolic, although in this case, it felt pretty magnificent. Wyatt Meckler to Soham Shah on 13-all, game to 14 to send Minnesota to the championship game.
Shah taking that cut to the break side, catching Dillon slightly over pursuing.
Minnesota Grey Duck headed to Memorial Day Monday. Tallis Boyd, how does it feel?
It feels good. These guys worked so hard. We have guys falling down left and right with injuries, but it's been one next man up all year long, and tonight was no exception.
Before the game, what was your level of confidence facing this Pittsburgh team that clearly has the championship pedigree?
Yeah, I mean, we saw them in pool play. We saw them on Friday evening, so we felt good about kind of what they were going to bring. We felt good about how we could match up, and we've been getting better each and every game. So we were feeling confident coming in.
You got any thoughts on who you're going to put on Stubbs and Vandenberg tomorrow?
Whoever's healthy. Yeah, we got a lot of guys. We got we got some horses who we can still let loose. So we're just going to keep digging and next man up.
Any chance that Osgar or Bumstead can recuperate for tomorrow? Is that out of the question?
I won't say it's. I don't know. Obviously we'll reassess in the morning. Clearly they're going to want to play. We're just going to have to see. I don't want them to do any catastrophic damage, but it's a big moment, and if they can go, they'll go.
Were you honed in so closely on the game throughout, or could you appreciate the spectacle of what this was over the past couple of hours?
I was pretty focused on the game, although, it's pretty fun to stand on the far sideline and look at the crowd all kind of doing our quack cheer. It's a pretty unbelievable moment as a coach. And these guys have worked so hard, so it's fun to see them in this moment under the lights and in front of the cameras.
You guys won some fans tonight. Harvard did too. It should be an incredible battle tomorrow. Get a little bit of rest if you can, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Tallis Boyd. In fact, we'll see you later today. As a matter of fact, the 5 Ultimate spirited player of the game, Ben Yacht. We talked about him off the top. A difference maker in so many facets for Grey Duck. And with their other stars dropping, he becomes even more important, and he was tonight.
Yacht had no problem shouldering that additional load with the rest of his teammates, whether he was making plays defensively, being a lethal option downfield. Yacht was pretty much always in the right place at the right time.
This deep shot out of the hands of Sam Kaminsky, hauled in by Yacht, and then he fired the flick to Isaac Ruff. And then later in the game, Yacht all the way in the end zone on the monstrous shot from Soham Shah. Ben Yacht headed to the championship game here at Nationals. How does it feel?
Oh, it's just ecstasy. I can't even explain it really. It just feels better than I've ever felt playing Frisbee before, and we felt pretty good winning the region for the first time ever last year, so this is pretty remarkable.
Have you ever had that many Carleton guys cheering you on before?
I don't think so. It's a great rivalry in the North Central. We all love to hate each other, but when it comes to crunch time, we know we'd all be rooting for each other here when it comes to the national stage. So it was great hearing those dudes in the stands.
Ben, with so many of your talented teammates going down, Cole Wallen made the spectacular layout yesterday, dislocated his elbow, and then Oscar and Bumstead and Van de Mortel today. What's it been like keeping everybody together and finding new guys to contribute?
That's sort of been the mantra all year, is just the next man up. So whoever it is, they just know that they have to play. We teach everyone the system, and so the next man steps up. And a great example of that is Zach Trosvig, who played, well, I'm not going to say shutdown on Max Thorne, but he got a couple Ds on him, which was phenomenal. That kid is so fast. And like Alex Jurley got a couple scores throughout the weekend, which are just money for us, having those dudes who aren't starters but can come in with fresh legs and just shut people down and then score on the other end of the disc.
All right, Ben, last thing, take a deep breath and think about the matchup with Harvard tomorrow. They've got some incredible playmakers like John Stubbs and Mark Vandenberg. How do you guys feel you match up with them, and what do you think will be the key heading into tomorrow to try to win a championship?
I don't know that there's any specific key that we were missing today. I think it's just a whole team effort, like we did today, like we did yesterday, like we did this morning, and then tonight. So there's no key. We'll all just keep playing next man up and play solid offense, hopefully more solid than what happened today. We were a little frantic at points, but luckily things sort of fell our way.
If you guys can get the win, a lot more people around the country will be playing Duck, Duck, Gray Duck going forward. Congrats on the great win today, and we'll see you later today.
Thanks so much, Evan.
Ben Yacht, victorious, and it's Minnesota and Harvard. Said it before, we'll say it again. No one saw this coming.
First semifinals appearance for both teams. First national finals appearance for both teams. Not a single bracket in the country had to have that be the ultimate matchup.
It'll be Harvard and Minnesota at 2:30 on Monday afternoon. It was an unbelievable night here at the WRAL Soccer Park in Raleigh, and it has been our absolute pleasure to bring it to you. We had just as much fun as you did, probably more. For Ian Toner and our entire crew, I'm Evan Lepler saying good night from Raleigh. Final score, Minnesota 14, Pittsburgh 13. To watch this entire game on replay, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Semifinal Sunday in the books. Championship Monday coming up.